Entrepreneurship is increasingly global in nature, and our next two speakers are brothers who are lucky to be raised by incredibly adventurous parents who took their young family all over the world to educate them in the University of Life. Tragically, Rob and Paul lost their parents in the Boxing Day tsunami. Their response to family tragedy has been remarkable: to start a business that would fund a better start in life for other orphans around the world. This desire to launch a giving brand gave birth to Gandhi's flip-flops to fund their charitable foundation, Orphans for Orphans. And you will notice in your bags that you have a pair of those. So we were taken by this story, and we hope that with your flip-flops, it will remind you of the power of business to address multiple imperatives. To make the world a better place is clearly a great pathway to profit, but also a journey of survival to success. So I'm delighted to welcome Rob and Paul.
Thank you, Natasha, and thank you, Havas, for having us. And today, I think Paul and I are just going to literally share with you a journey that we've been on. I think we've heard everyone here talk about kind of brand journeys and getting the consumers on board with your journey. But something that myself and brother have done is and those brands have been around, hundreds of years, 50 years, etc. Myself and brother have started this a couple of years ago in our bedroom in Brixton, and we found very quickly that people have wanted to join our journey. And I think one of the reasons that has been it is so personal. And we had a very unique upbringing. We were pulled out of school at 13 and 11, and our parents said to us, after a 2-week holiday in India, who fancies moving there? And at first we thought they were joking, but within a few weeks, that was it. We were packing up the family home we'd been in for 20 years, and we had a one-way ticket to Mumbai. We kind of thought that was just going to be a short, kind of trip, maybe a couple of months, and they'd go back. And it ended up being for years, and we went around, we were volunteering, we worked in children's homes, we visited orphanages, we went to school in India for a bit, and we continued to travel around kind of Southeast Asia. And as mentioned, it was an incredible upbringing that not many people would get, and we were extremely grateful for that, and we saw a lot in that time, and had our eyes open to new cultures, and how the world works. And that's kind of given us a lot of insight into what we're doing now. And unfortunately, whilst we were travelling, that was, we had the tragedy of the tsunami, and fortunately myself and brother narrowly survived, along with our younger brother and sister out there. And that took a lot from us. We had to hitchhike home from the bottom of Sri Lanka at the age of 17, 15, 11 and 8. And we managed to do that. So kind of starting a brand for us, when we set out, we kind of just thought, what could be worse than that? Ultimately, whatever we're going to face is going to be nothing in comparison. And we've just kind of rolled into it, not knowing exactly what we were doing, kind of shooting from the hip, as mentioned earlier, but just kind of doing what was personal to us. And we said, we wanted to build a children's home in memory of our parents, and that was just the goal we were focused on doing. And when we actually started, we actually didn't put out there about our story at all. But what we found was everyone was asking, why are you trying to build this children's home? What's it in aid of? Are you another big corporate company that's just, coming up with some kind of CSR route? And in the end, we kind of just told our story, and people became fixated with it as to why we were doing it. And we had friends from football and cricket and things like that just saying, we've played, sport with you all these years, and how did we never know that about you? Because it wasn't something that we shared. But we've kind of found, for us, it was incredibly tough at the start sharing that. But as time's gone by, we've noticed that, it's actually changing the lives of people around us as well. We have so many people, friends that have started charities, started companies, people, all over the place that now get in contact that, have read about what we're doing, and it's moving them to do something, and we're creating change, on a wider scale just from the initial steps that we took. And we even had one yesterday, which I was out of the office, but came back in today, and we had one lady that which we were incredibly moved by. she gave basically a pair of our flip-flops to her child, and she had a chronic disease, and she was just literally on her last few days, and she's asked that no money goes towards her funeral, etc. She wants all of the money to go to our Orphans for Orphans Foundation, and basically that her child, who's a bit younger than us, but should take strength from our brand and read up on it. And to see that kind of somebody has given that kind of message, and we had a few of our team completely moved as well. And then one of the girls that works in customer service said, this isn't the first time this has happened. We've had similar stories like this. So when you kind of see that your brand's making that much kind of impact, for us, it pushes us harder, and also shows the kind of responsibility that we have. And that's just come because we've made our brand so personal to ourselves, and it literally is just a reflection of everything that our parents kind of taught us along our way, and we've continued to kind of pick up for all of our travels. So there's been lots of different things that we've done to kind of get that started, because obviously when we're in our bedroom, we started off just when Nina mentioned about memories on a phone, it made me laugh, because I just thought of right at the start, Paul was going out round stores, knocking on their doors with an iPhone and a couple of flip-flops, trying to get them on board. And I was just thinking back to some of the pictures that we had, because at the start we were taking pictures of flip-flops in the bath to get the white backdrop to put it on our simple website that we made. So there's been loads of things that we've been doing, but Paul will share some of the things that we've done over the last kind of couple of years that have helped build up the momentum that we've got to.
Afternoon, guys. Yeah, we've done quite a few things in the last few years, from starting on my brother's sofa. There were some tough times in the sense of not being able to afford the rent, especially when you're living on his sofa. But the last couple of years, in terms of getting the brand right, we've been quite lucky, and we've been really lucky with celebrities getting behind us, and the press as well, that have helped us to get our brand out there, as we don't spend any money on advertising. We just believe in, if you do good, then you should get PR off the back of it, and people should hear and find out about the brand. So it's quite a good business model in that sense. Like Paul mentioned earlier about some of the stats about people don't want to spend as much on advertising nowadays. It's gone down by half. And there's been a few other bits, in the earlier days, like Rob mentioned, doing the photo shoot on the iPhone in the bath. There was other stuff, like I used to go hand out postcards and stuff, and then I'd run home and see if anyone would order any of our flip-flops. I'd get home and there'd be no orders on our website, and I've stood outside the tube station all day. But it was good.
We've learned that, that kind of advertising doesn't work anymore. But we've we've had a few people saying you put postcards on all of our cars in the car park and obliterated the place. So we've moved away from doing kind of things like that. But we've seen kind of social media has been really powerful for us as well.
We got our first sale through Facebook, which is incredible.
We got a sale from somebody in Germany. That was where our first kind of e-commerce kind of transaction went through, and that was just via a friend of Paul's backpacking around the world, picked up on it and just reading what it was all about. And we've then seen that that's grown as well since then. When we went back to Sri Lanka for the first time we went back there, we put up a blog post about the experience of going back, how we were obviously slightly skeptic to go back, but it was actually the children of Sri Lanka when we were there that helped us get our way back home, and helped us kind of, hitchhike and get food, etc. And we felt that we owed it to them. That was why we were so passionate to kind of get that off the ground. And when we went back, we put this post up, and by the time we'd landed, we kind of had a look on Facebook, and we'd realised that it had 1 million views, and it had gone completely viral, and we had everyone asking us if we wanted to stay at their house in Sri Lanka, if we wanted a cup of tea, and that we were welcome, at their houses. And to see that something so simple, by just putting it on Facebook, had then kind of transpired to people on the other side of the world being moved by our brand, and kind of really kind of taking notice of what we were doing was huge for us. And also when you get so many people with such positive kind of feedback and comments, you then realise the reason that you're doing that, and to then go there and we funded a children's home for the next 3 years from what we'd done in flip-flops, and this year just gone, which was the 10th year anniversary, we went back again, and we've actually managed to build our very first Gandhi's Kids campus, which for us kind of, to just have an idea a couple of years ago, no real funding, just setting out with the idea to get to that, then to get it into stores. A lot of that has just been passion and perseverance, and Paul's more than often has turned up outside Top Man and knocked for Philip Green, and we stood there and we asked him to come down and would he come and talk to us about our flip-flops, and we said we weren't leaving till he came down. He didn't come down, but that's kind of loads of stuff that we've been doing and just trying to figure it out, whether it's the sales, whether it's the operations, and when it comes to kind of, creating a given brand, it's not something that we kind of thought hard about. It was more just natural, and I think, that's one way to look at it as well, and that's why people connect with it as well, I feel, is because so many people have their own journey, their own story in their life, and people are affected by things every day. As mentioned earlier, we're nationwide with Macmillan. I had a friend that suffered from cancer, and that was a big thing for him, and he worried about where he was going to, how he was going to pay his, mortgage, etc. And it was Macmillan that got him through that. So when I then hear that story, I then related to that straight away. And I think that's kind of one of the key things is, everyone is human, and if you put kind of, stories out there, that creates content that people will take interest in and want to know more about, and that's what we've kind of we've seen. And everything that we do, from, you'll see on the box on the flip-flops, we put a kingfisher on it because that was our dad's favourite beer, and it was a bird that we saw a lot of in India. And then the footprint was our mum's favourite poem, Footprints in the Sand. We put a postcard in every box because we used to send postcards back to all of our family as we travel. We put a passport stamp on every flip-flop that says a message of orphans for orphans, because of the amount of passport stamps we collected up, and that's continuously the kind of things that we're doing. And now we're moving into more products as well, where we're doing things that our mates would wear travelling, sunglasses, backpacks, things like that. Something that we'd be proud to wear, and we know our friends would be proud to wear, and hopefully that will then enable us to go on and build more children's homes. It started off with a simple vision to open one in memory of our parents, but we've actually seen that more people have got behind that, which hopefully will enable us to reach our vision of kind of opening homes all around the world. So that's kind of how we've got things started and where we're at today. But thank you for your time.